Hey there, in this video we're gonna take a look at Pannonica. My previous video my last lesson video was covering Round Midnight and this book, the Thelonious Monk fake book. So this week we'll take a look at Pannonica. Same thing, all I did was take the arrangement from this excellent book and applied it to the guitar. And I added a few things. So some of this stuff is my own ideas, but most of it, I would say 95% or so, is just from what's in the book. So I'll show you the arrangement. We're gonna learn it. So grab your guitars and we'll learn this arrangement. And I'll talk a little bit about the things happening here and some of the things that we need to consider when we're trying to play this tune. So let's get started, shall we? So right off the bat, it starts with kind of a pentatonic melody. Kind of side slipping. So you could play that like this. I think this is what Kurt Rosenwinkel does. He plays like a E minor drop 2 chord, right? But that's not what we're gonna do. That's not what the book is telling us to do. It's supposed to be this interval. So there's an D and the B in the melody, and then the bass note, which gives me this funny voicing. I love this sound, it's very open. You could play this, I guess, which would be kind of a C major 7 with a third drop to a D. But I'll just play this and then play that second below the melody note there. Then here, if you follow my videos, you know I keep talking about playing the root and the 7th under the melody. So the bass note, the root and the 7th, and then the melody. And then again the 7th rubbing against the melody. Then he plays like a fill, like an A flat 7 flat 5 chord with a chromatic little thing there. So you could play the whole chord, I guess, like that. And pay attention to that rhythm. It's on the 16th note off after the beat there. Then next 2 bars, the melody goes. And again, if I play the bass note, the root and the 7th of each one of those chords, that's D and the 7th, B flat and the 7th, E flat, and so on. And put it together with the melody. The trick there is to keep the bass notes without not letting go of the bass notes when you're playing the melody. So it's a little bit tricky. And you don't have to play the root and the bass note, let's call those the chords. On the downbeats, you could play them as chord stabs. Okay, then we have the melody. With a falling guide tone line under it. So that's a great ear training exercise. So of course you could add bass notes if you wanted to, right? There you can play that whole chord. Here you you can also play the bass note. A little bit depending on if you're playing by yourself, performing it as a solo guitar piece, you might want to add more bass notes. But if you're playing it with a trio and there's a bass player, you might not want to do that. I think even if you're playing as a solo piece, it's enough with that beautiful guide tone line. But those are the decisions you have to make. There's this fear that we have that never play the bass notes because the bass player doesn't like that. I don't think that's true. You can totally play the bass notes and the roots. It's that you don't want to do the bass player's job and get in the way of the bass player. You want to avoid that, but you can totally play the bass notes. I think a lot of people play A flat minor there instead of A flat 7. I think that's what Chord does. But then you don't get that falling guide tone line, but it's a little bit easier to solo if you treat that chord as an A flat minor, I think. And it's also very beautiful. So that's another thing you need to think about. Then we have that. Again, root in 7th. And then melody. Then I play the whole chords. 8th flat 13 to G13. So it's almost like this tune that can't decide if it's in C major or D flat or what key is it actually. Then I play the D flat major 7 sharp 11 that kind of sounds like a tonic, but it also sounds like a chord that's pulling to the C. So it's a little bit ambiguous. I play this chord. You could even add the 5th on the bottom. One of my favorite chords. I think Chord plays this, which is a drop 2, right? But on the bottom set of strings. Sounds very neo-soul. But I like this. If you add the sharp 11, you get this. So the whole first part of the tune. So also the falling guide tone line, keep the notes ringing. That's a tricky one. Also, you want to add the chord there. So you don't have to do that all the time, but if you can keep those notes ringing as long as possible, that it's more sophisticated. B section, G minor. So he's just playing according to the book anyway, the 5th there as a kind of accompanying melody. And then a C13 going to a C flat 13. So it's like the 5th on top is going down. The way I'm fingering that is like that, and then so I have to kind of prepare. So this is a kind of great technique exercise. I could play this all day. Keep that D ringing, and then that's it. I just love playing that for some reason. Then so this part of the tune that's kind of short 2 5s, right? And then it's a really funny melody under there. So That's a funny interval. But that's what the book is telling me to play, so I like it. One of the reasons why we're studying monk's music is to find unconventional ways of doing things. So whenever you find something weird like that, there's a temptation to kind of not play that and try to fix it. As I'm talking in the previous video, when you try to fix monk's music, it actually, the magic disappears. So don't do that. I want to keep the quirkiness of his music. That's more straightforward. That part of the tune, Chord plays more chords there. He plays a B, C sharp minor, D diminished, like the Django type diminished chord, to A flat 7 over E flat. That's pretty awesome. But that's not what we're doing here. The reason I'm comparing it with the Chord solo is I think it's a good idea. When you learn a tune, you should look at the original version, but you should also learn another version. It's a great idea to do that because that gives you an idea of how you can change things. And sometimes you get this feeling of, oh, I would have never thought of that. For example, that you can add that harmony there. Maybe Chord got that from somewhere else, I don't know, or if he came up with it himself. Doesn't really matter. It's just that it gives you an idea that, oh, I can do that. And then if I play another tune in the future, I might add those things there. If you know what I mean, it's like you're building up this ammunition of things that you can do when you play these kind of tunes. Kurt Rosenwinkel's version, obviously, of this tune is very famous. As I'm making this video, in a few hours, I will go down to Gothenburg to watch Kurt Rosenwinkel, who is playing tonight. So that's going to be pretty awesome. So this arrangement is on my Patreon page, as always. And Pannonica, as far as I understand, was this rich patron who was friends with Thelonious Monk. She was even a Rothschild, so probably very wealthy. And I think that's where they found Charlie Parker when he died. He was at her home in New York, I think. I might be wrong about that. Let me know in the comments if you know more about this. But she was this patron who supported jazz musicians, and I'm guessing was close friends with Thelonious Monk, hence the song title. Then we have a D minor 9 to G7, sharp 5. So here I'm just playing the root in the 7th again. You could add more notes. You could add the 3rd there. You could add the 3rd there. So that's another decision you have to make. Do you want it more open? Or do you want the 3rds? You could do that. But you don't have to. I think Kurt Rosenwinkel plays this chord. Then C, the book says C major 7. But I think a lot of people play C7 there. But if I play C major 7, again, bass note and root and 7th, and the melody. Then there's a B flat under the melody, which I'm changing to an F sharp. That I came up with myself, but I also think that's what Kurt Rosenwinkel does. Then moving on. So here it's almost like I'm holding this that chord, right? Then guide tone line A7, D7, G7. That's another really fun thing to play. You could flip that guide tone line and play it down here instead. Whatever you prefer. Then we're back. And then this. When I listen to the Chord, he plays this chord here, I think. Instead of major 7 flat 5, he plays this fourth stack of fourths voicing. And I actually prefer that. We make this mistake, I think, sometimes we jazz musicians, that we think we had to add every hip extension, sharp 11 and what have you. Sometimes it's better to play a more simple chord, I guess. So that was my arrangement of Pannonica, and it's on my Patreon page. And let me know in the comments if you have a favorite version of this tune. There are quite a few famous recordings of this. Chicoria played it, and Chord obviously very famously recorded this tune. So thanks for your time and attention, and thanks for watching, and I shall see you next time.